It's the Social Oddities Podcast, coming at you from 5 parts of the UK, all for one reason: the amazing world of wrestling.
I've never seen a crowd so fired up, JR. They know what's coming next. They can't wait to get started, and neither can I.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Social Oddities Podcast. Today it is myself, Adam, Kevin.
Evening.
This week we have one guest and one special guest. Introducing our first guest, which is Scout Steve. Say hello.
How's it going, guys?
And our special guest is Attack Pro and also Fight Club Pro referee / wrestler, Shay Pursser.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Great to have you all here today. So first, Shay, thanks for coming on. It's much appreciated that you took your time out to do this.
No problem. This is the first time I've been a special guest. I feel like exclusive. It's great.
Well, yeah, exclusive. Yeah, just don't triple your fee. You're just a normal guest. So yeah, Shay, tell us a bit about yourself. Like you're the referee in Attack Pro and Fight Club. What actually got you into wrestling?
So I live in Cardiff and I grew up like around the corner from a local community centre. And back when I was like super young, like 4 or 5, my brother would always take me in there to watch wrestling shows. And I didn't know, but at the time it was NWA Hammerlock. So this was like at 5 years old, I was watching like Fergal Devitt, Zack Sabre Jr., like Wade Barrett, all like in this small like 90-seater community centre in Cardiff, and I was like, this is the best thing ever. Like, oh my god, it completely blew my mind. And like following that, I kind of became more aware of like the British wrestling scene as I got older. Like I never really got into WWE like when I was like the normal age. I started watching British independent wrestling, and then eventually when I was like 13 or 14, I found out about Attack because they run in the same venue now, just a different room, so it's a bit bigger. And following from that, I met Mark Andrews, and I asked him about like, is there any like local training? I would have been 14 at the time, and then I found out about Dragon Pro Wrestling, started training there, and then when I was about 15, I started training in the Midlands with Attack Pro Wrestling, Fight Club Pro. So it just kind of like looped around, and I expanded from there. Pretty cool.
That's wicked. I mean, to be fair, you say you started at 14, but you just turned 18. Is that right?
Yeah, I turned 18 a couple of weeks ago.
That's wicked. I mean, I don't know if the others have seen the match, but I've seen the match with you and my favourite, Session Moth. What was that like?
That's one of my favourite matches. It's up there with the time I wrestled a fan.
Fan?
Yeah.
Just sort of an actual fan or an electronic fan?
Oh, an actual fan. Like at the last Attack show at Walkabout. Those two are probably my favourite matches, and they're great to watch.
I think we'd all like to know who won, Shay.
By the VOD and find out is the answer. But
I had the answer.
I actually do know who won the Session Moth match. I don't actually know who won the fan match.
Oh, that match is something else. Like, I've never heard a crowd react so loud for a fan doing a spear in my life.
That is awesome. I'll go to Twitter because I don't know if you saw it earlier, but someone actually tweeted in a question which I thought was quite interesting actually. Let me just find it now. It was for someone so young who has already achieved so much at different companies. What are your realistic goals for the next 3 years?
Wrestle The Undertaker at WrestleMania. No, I'm kidding. It's probably that's a loaded question. Just get my name out there more, I guess. Like, so I'm slowly transitioning to a wrestler. I'd like to think, at least. And I'm really lucky and fortunate with the companies that I've fallen into at the moment. Like, Fight Club are a great company to be working with. Attack are a great company to be working with. Like, Lucha Forever as well are a great company to be working with. And I really appreciate the opportunities those guys have given me. So the aim is just to kind of like get my name out there more, like expand a little bit more. Hopefully wrestle like a few more notable names, even though I have a lot under my belt already, which is awesome considering like I've only been doing it 3.5 years.
You mentioned names, but who is actually the biggest name you've wrestled?
Right. That's So it's either Hornswoggle or Pete Dunne or Tyler Bate.
Right. I mean, all similar sizes.
Very much. I don't know who's the hardest to fight. Probably Hornswoggle.
Yeah, I bet he is, to be honest. I bet he's not the easiest person to fight.
I mean, like, yeah, like there's usually like a bit of a reach difference, but no, that was just you have to get up close and personal. It didn't end well for me, so.
I mean, obviously you don't know much about us, but actually Kevin is actually the Hornswoggle double up north.
Knew it.
He's well. I mean, I think Hornswoggle's got about 2 inch on him, but
Ooh,
yeah,
I can see in that Skype profile picture. He looks like a Hornswoggle.
Thanks. Come on. It's not my fault. I'm short.
No. But anyway, we'll come back to you in a second, Shay.
Yeah, no problem.
We'll split up a little bit. We'll start with Extreme Rules. Normally we go through it match by match, but that just takes forever. So, what are your highlights and what are your lowlights of Extreme Rules?
I bounce in and out watching WWE, and I love Elias Sampson. Like, he cut that promo where he was just with his guitar, and I fell in love. Like, I've seen bits of him, and I haven't really been that fussed. He's great. Like, he's great. It was superb.
Yeah, I mean, us three were actually in Orlando this year for Mania and all the weekend.
Oh, awesome.
And I think one of the highlights to me was actually seeing El Vagabondo. I don't know about you two. What do you reckon about El Vagabondo?
It was an interesting experience, Adam. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
it was so over as El Vagabondo, though, wasn't it?
Maybe the Lucha Mask needs to come back.
Well, yeah. I think everybody with the Lucha Masks always adds a little bit of excitement. What were your highlights and lowlights, Steve, of Extreme Rules?
I don't like to start off with a low light, but I'll have to say the women's match for me was the massive disappointment. Looking forward to, as myself, a firm advocate of women's wrestling, I found it to be boring, fairly lackluster, and that's given the fact that you've got two talented people in the ring. Be it the whole build-up, something was missing. Be it the match itself, I'm not entirely sure. I don't know what you guys think.
I think
agree.
I think what did they have? Did they have 5 minutes or some? 5 minutes?
Yeah, something like that. You
know, and I mean, I was saying at Mania, the two women's match at Mania were terrible. But this is a new low for the new revolution.
Right, I'm going to come in with a slightly not more positive outlook, but more like I just want to be like I want to think well here. I think they were kind of testing the waters for crowd reaction with women using weapons. Now, I know this sounds weird, but when's the last time you can remember like a match in which a woman used a weapon?
Oh, yeah. You've got a point there, actually, yeah.
I think because they've got the Money in the Bank ladder match coming up in a couple of weeks, I'm guessing they want to see like not how much they can get away with, but how much a crowd will like. Because they don't like they rarely go into like intergender wrestling WWE, and when they do, it's nothing. Like it's very much men wrestle men, women wrestle women, but they're in the same match.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of hoping they're just like seeing how the crowd reacted, and just things like that to gauge for the Money in the Bank ladder match. Because I'm hoping now we're going to see like a sick Money in the Bank ladder match with women, which I totally believe they can pull off.
I tend to agree with you there, Shay. I think one of the things that I found fairly interesting is the way they allowed Charlotte Flair to do the bump through the table.
Yeah.
On SmackDown, and I think we've got to see some sort of bump coming off a ladder from one of the girls coming up to Money in the Bank, be it through a ladder. I'm not sure. I don't know what you guys think about that. Whether or not WWE will go the whole hog with it.
I think if they want to make it work, then they're going to have to go all hog with it. You know.
Oh, definitely.
I was going to say that if they want to make it work, it's got to be all in or nothing. It can't be a half-assed show.
Well, as long as we don't end up seeing a pink briefcase, I'm sure that will set the tone for the event. So let's stay clear of all that.
So, like, I'm one of the few people that has a lot of faith in WWE when they do things. Like, I genuinely believe they know what they're doing, no matter what they are doing. So I'm really hoping they put, and I totally believe they will because they've got 5 really talented wrestlers in the ring. So
yeah,
I'm hoping something good comes out of that Money in the Bank ladder match.
Well, sticking with the women theme. Obviously, you've refereed quite a few of the up and coming, not only British but I suppose international women.
Yeah.
Who do you see as the next big thing coming out of the independents?
I know this sounds super weird, but I'm very fortunate with the fact that every single woman I've worked with has ended up being of a very high caliber. I've both wrestled and refereed Nixon Newell, who's obviously going to do great things in Orlando right now. Is any? I genuinely, I may sound biased, but I genuinely think Session Moth Martina's got a very bright future ahead of her. I know she's been wrestling for a while, but now she's only just started gaining notoriety. So I really think she's going to become big, and I think she is already becoming big in the world's eye. A couple of others are probably, if any of you have heard about Alex Windsor.
Is she Ryan Smiles, Mrs.?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think she's got again, she's someone who's been around a little while, but now she's really starting to gain notoriety, and you can see a lot of very promising things coming from her. I feel like a lot of the female talent that was promising a couple of years ago is now coming to notoriety, and that's really cool to see because they all really deserve it.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen quite a few. I go to the Progress shows now and again, and
awesome.
You see some of the women there. You've got your Ginnies, you got your Tony Storm coming over.
Yeah, Tony's great.
Yeah.
One of the best things about Progress is how they treat the women on an absolute even keel to the men as well. I think if you look at a lot of the storytelling, they let the women run, which is a massive, massive plus for me.
Oh yeah, definitely. They treat it's rare that I'm negative about anything in wrestling, but especially Progress, I love the way they do everything. I think it's superb. I was very fortunate that after a weekender with Fight Club Pro, I travelled up to a Progress show in Manchester and got to see how that works, how they all work, and it's the setup's awesome. They're all really good guys, and I completely agree with the women's wrestling aspect. The fact that they had the women's title match main event, Night in Super Strong Style 16, is just awesome to see.
Definitely. Did you get a chance? Sorry to interrupt, Dan. Did you get a chance to watch any of the Super Strong Style, Shay?
I'm just about to finish night 2.
It is a hard slog. Fantastic, though.
The problem was, because they released it as a weekender, Friday I had an Attack show, and Saturday I was at Pro Wrestling Chaos. So I got, by Sunday, I got home, and I was I'm exhausted, and because I'm young, I have, A2 exams coming up, so I've been trying to watch in between revision, and I've managed to catch all of night 1 and nearly all of night 2. I think I've only got to watch the women's 3-way and then I'm finished with night 2. But again, both shows have been superb so far.
100%. I wouldn't like to feel what your schedule would be like. I know it's difficult enough, and I know the guys feel the same, where we fit in enough to actually watch wrestling, never mind to actually wrestle.
So I've taken a bit of a temporary leave of absence, but I was training 5 times a week, both in Wolverhampton and in Cardiff at one point, as well as doing shows on the weekends, and as well as being in full-time education, and as well as working 2 jobs.
Yeah, I struggle with 1 job and sitting, scratching my ass playing FIFA.
I do that as well, but
don't forget Football Manager, Adam.
Oh yeah, Football Manager is my life.
I just got Football Manager 2017. I haven't I always wait until it goes on discount.
I was gonna say, the season's finished, don't you?
Yeah, I'm full. I saw it was £11. I was like, I've got to buy it now.
Yeah, we'll carry on with extreme rules. What was everyone else's favourite match from there? We'll start with you, Kev.
To me, the best match of the night would have been the Fatal 5-Way. Good, all-round, perfect end of the pay-per-view. Second would have been the Neville Austin Aries. They never ever failed to disappoint.
Yeah, but don't you feel now that maybe Aries should actually win?
No, because they need a title run. What's constant? They don't want, on average at the minute, you lose your first, you lose your second, and then you win on your third go of going for a title, unless you're Jinder Mahal. But it seems to be your third go, you win.
Well,
this was Aries' third go, and he's lost. It's still making Neville look strong, but making the chase exciting because it's different stipulations.
Yeah, and obviously we know Shay's going to be happy being a Newcastle fan that never won.
I think what they're doing with the cruiserweight division at the moment is great. Because the way it's subjective, but the way you can build prestige with the title is having like one guy hold it for a long time and then eventually having him beaten. And the way everything's being done at the moment is superb. Like, he didn't win cleanly 2 times, and then the 3rd time, like, he won cleanly, but he tapped out. You saw him tap out. It keeps Austin Aries looking incredibly strong. Like, he had a great showing, and then also Neville's still the champ, and Neville looks great. Like, now, like, because a lot of people worry about like cruiserweight division thinning out and them not having enough people. They have loads of people. Actually, look at the cruiserweight roster. There are so many different people they can choose from to challenge him. Like, the way they're building this belt at the moment is just superb.
I think with the cruiserweights, I think my only worry about the British guys going over there, your Andrews, your Bates, your Dunn, is they're going to get them thrust into this cruiserweight division, and then they're not going to make the main, being challenging for main titles.
I think that's like always a worry, but obviously we don't know what the cruiserweight. I feel like even though the cruiserweight division's now been around a while, we don't really know what it is. Like, is it? I wouldn't call it a transitioning period because it's like they're trying to build it up to be prestigious, obviously, but at the same time, like, you have people under 205 wrestling on Raw, so it's a very like ambiguous thing because you could totally have Mark, Pete, and Tyler put in the 205 Live category and have them wrestle there, but at the same time, you could also have one of them move up to main roster after a year and a half. Like, have we seen anyone move from the cruiserweight division to main roster yet? I'm a bit.
No, I think it's only seems to be the backward step. Main roster to cruiserweight is so.
I don't know what they could do with that. Maybe I'm hoping at least we'll see like not a bit more of a crossover, but a bit more of like we see a bunch of 205 live guys go up the main roster after a lot of success. Like, because it wouldn't be bad, but I think you'd lose a lot if you saw, like, imagine if Finn Balor would have gone from NXT to 205 Live.
No,
it would have been a letdown.
Yeah. So what's your views on 205, Steve?
In all honesty, I absolutely love the wrestling when I actually sit down and watch 205 Live, or indeed the segments that you end up getting on Raw. But I'll be honest, I have no idea what they're trying to do with the brand. I hate the purple, and I also hate the fact that there's no crossover. And just touching on what Shay mentioned before, I think probably the only time in its sort of the infancy that they've had any form of crossover, I seem to remember Kalisto having a match on 205 Live near the very beginning. But again, there's been nothing since then in terms of main roster crossover.
Yeah, you're right. It just seems to be you've got Neville versus whoever on Raw, and then it's 205, which is
they obviously needed to do something. There was a massive gap of wrestlers of a similar size who they thought weren't getting the opportunity, even at the mid-card title belts. But if you look at what's happening in the WWE at the moment, you've got guys like Dean Ambrose and The Miz, and I know you're a big Miz fan, Shay, but the same guys competing for the same championships. To me, the whole Jinder Mahal for the world title was massive change in direction. And I love the fact that anything is unexpected. And that's what for me has been the most delighted part of SmackDown lately.
Yeah, I think with SmackDown you don't know what's going around, but with Raw it seems to be that you seem to know what's going to happen. Although I was quite surprised Samoa Joe won the 5-way on Sunday. I don't know about you. Steve, I bet you predicted that because you're a cheating bastard, but you know.
I did predict that, Adam, as you quite rightly point out. However,
was it by submission as well?
I'm massively looking forward to Joe versus Brock Lesnar. I'm a big fan of Progress Atlas title, and I love the whole big guys wrestling thing that goes on. Big suplex fan, and I think they're going to probably steal the show. But whether or not WWE allow it to go long, or something happens and the whole Paul Heyman thing comes back in, kind of touching on what happened on Raw.
I think because obviously prior to beating Goldberg at Mania, Brock was squashed 3 times, 2 in matches and then once at the Rumble. I just got a feeling maybe
you've got to question his fitness ability as well.
Yeah, maybe he's due a squash match win.
Maybe. But what does that do for Joe? I guess I think that'd probably be the main question.
Well, yeah, I mean, to be honest, I thought Gray would be there because they don't mind squashing him.
No, good. Just out of interest, obviously a question for everyone. What does everyone think about Bray Wyatt at the moment? Because for me, he's kind of turned into a little bit of a top mid-card main event jobber. How they make him go over all these different people for the sense of just making the other people look better because he is very good in the ring.
Yeah, I think I don't think he's ever going to hit the Universal title heights or be a main eventer at Mania. But I mean, I've liked Bray since he first became the Bray Wyatt character. I just think they've absolutely ruined him over the years. You know, I can't remember a decent feud that he won. I'm probably going to think Kane was his first feud, and that's probably the best feud he's ever won.
Yeah, he seems to be the guy that ends up losing an awful lot, and they don't really seem to be building his character that way at all.
Yeah. Shay, what do you think about the Bray Wyatt character?
Right, like Bray Wyatt's a big like hubbub in my opinion. Like he's done like so many different things over the past few years. Like the Wyatt family stuff was great, but I kind of feel like they leave what he's doing a little too long. If that makes sense. Like I remember he's got these like awesome like rambly promos where it didn't make sense, and then he literally just starts speaking like gibberish, and I was like, this is awesome. Like because again I like sporadically watch Raw and SmackDown for a little while, and then I remember switching on like 6 months later and I hadn't watched anything, and he was doing the exact same thing, like with the exact same people in a very similar rivalry where he just lost, and I was like, oh, that's boring. I thought this character had like legs. And like my one big thing is like I think when people wrestle Bray Wyatt they should be like changed, like because his whole thing is like he's gonna freak you out and he's gonna make you think differently and he's gonna like change you as a weirdo. You know what I mean? He's not someone you like meet on the street. Like you can imagine walking down the street and seeing like Sami Zayn. You can't imagine walking down the street and seeing someone like walking backwards on their hands.
I'm assuming, Shay, you've actually never been to Sunderland.
Nah, that's I can tell by the football team you guys probably walk that way. But there's a big that's just like the big thing for me. And now the stuff they're doing with him at the moment, like it's good and it's bad. Like he looked really, really strong in that 5-way. Like he had the majority of like control. You saw him get the most stuff in. And you saw a real like adaptation of his character to the fact to work with someone to get his own way, which is really cool. I think it's interesting to see what they do with him next more than anything, like because they really have like a chance to take momentum and see what they can do with him here. So I think I'm always optimistic, so I really like to see him do well. But I think the position he's in at the moment isn't bad considering the top roster talent they've got. It's like Brock Lesnar, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe. Like they've built up a bunch of guys now in Balor, Joe, Reigns, and Rollins to all be like these top level contenders. I think it's always good to have like Bray just waiting in the wings and seeing what they can do with him.
Yeah. No. You see, it is good to have people as a good backup. I don't know. I can't see him ever progressing anymore. I mean, at least the Husky Harris chance have stopped.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's like not your modern day equivalent, but like the position that you always saw the $1 Million Man in, or the position that you always saw Mr. Perfect in, where they never reached like the height the fans wanted them to, but they never did. But they were always good to just have there, and they always made talent look good, and they were always like memorable. Like I don't think anyone's gonna forget. Like the way it goes, as long as like he doesn't get released tomorrow, I don't think anyone's gonna forget who Bray Wyatt was.
No, definitely. I mean, you touched on Mr. Perfect then. I probably think he's the greatest wrestler not to win the world title.
I agree with you there.
I can totally see a debate for that. I think him, probably Jake Roberts. There's a few, but he's definitely up there. Like, he's superb.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, apart from, I might be a bit controversial here, apart from the Snake, I didn't really get Jake Roberts. I didn't think he was that much of a good wrestler.
I completely get where you're coming from. Like, I think if you compare him to like nowadays, especially like his wrestling's like I've heard people call it outdated. I think it's great. Like you actually watch like the story of like all these matches, and it blows me away. I'm like, what's going on? This is amazing. Like, especially from a training perspective. But I totally get where you're coming from. I love him. Like, his promos were excellent. Like, especially for like obviously I wasn't born then, but like I speak to like my friends in wrestling. They always tell me like they were scared of Jake Roberts growing up. Like, he actually instilled fear into them, which is great. Like, that's exactly what like 80s wrestling was. People, like especially kids, believed it was real. I think Jake Roberts was a big perpetrator of believing it was real.
Yeah. Is anyone else getting quite annoyed with the fact that he's saying, I wasn't born then, but we can all vividly remember it? Yeah. Cheers for that, Shay. You're just making us all feel old.
No problem. Anytime.
I actually think Steve is actually old enough to be your dad. Steve, how old are you?
29.
Nah. That's nah.
Well, that's awkward because that
I've
means me.
wrestled people who are old enough to be my dad.
Who is the oldest person you've wrestled?
Probably. I'd like to. Trent 7, 36, probably.
If in fact, a friend of mine has just texted me now, Carl. He's at Leeds Arena watching NXT, and he's actually just texted me now saying, where is he now? Trent's new music is awesome. His WWE music must be pretty good.
Awesome, that's great to hear.
Did anyone catch a couple of days ago that some of the UK talent had actually signed extended deals with WWE? I noticed they seem to be ring fencing quite a lot of the top tier talent who they had out over Mania weekend and seems to be pushing through the NXT system.
Yeah, I think I just want to know like what kind of contract they're on, because it's only going to get to a matter of time where they're going to leave the indie scene and go there full time. You know, I mean, Shay probably knows better than us, but
I know nothing. I smile, wave, and pretend I know what's going on.
It's always the best way, Shay.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the rumored deals, haven't you, between WWE, Progress, ICW, and OTT over in Ireland, where you know they're going to put the stuff on the network, and sometimes it goes a bit quiet, but then you know sometimes, like today, I think it was Jim was doing some WWE promotional work, wasn't he, with the two of the victims from Manchester. He went to the house with some of the NXT guys and Mark Andrews.
Oh yeah. I saw photos of that, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, I saw over Super Strong Style weekend that Progress were tweeting this young girl. I think is her name Lily. You know, because she was a victim, sadly, in Manchester. Well, luckily she's okay now, but you know, it's never nice for a little kid at that age to be there. But yeah, you see Jim there with the WWE guys. It makes you wonder, are we closer than ever to them signing for him?
Again, your guess is as good as mine. I wish I could be more insightful, but again, I smile and wave and just hope that things go great for everyone, which by the looks of things it is at the moment.
Smile, wave, and count to 3.
Exactly.
It's funny actually.
If I don't like you.
Well, yeah. It's funny actually, 'cause, the last episode we had Leo Rush on. I don't know if you've heard of him from Ring of Honor.
Oh, wow. Yeah. But your fans have got such a downgrade. They've gone from like one of the best independent wrestlers in the world to like an 18-year-old who's kind of got unlucky and ended up wrestling a couple of cool matches.
But just I think it was about a few days before he was coming on, he emailed me saying, "Oh, I've had an accident. I've broke my nose." And I asked him how he'd done it, and he mentioned it on the podcast the other week, saying that he was kicking out of a pin, and the referee was over him, and he basically headbutted the referee, and he broke his nose. Have you ever come close to that?
I nearly knocked a photographer out. What else? I've nearly knocked a photographer out by getting out of the ring to go and grab a microphone, not realising he was squatted below the apron and full on just kicking him in the side of the head. And he was on the floor and I was like, oh god, what have I done? And then I just left. What's the other one? There's another I nearly got knocked out when someone kicked out of a pin once. So I was counting their shoulders, but I shuffled backwards as they kicked out, and as I shuffled backwards, their heel caught me in the side of the head. And I remember just being like, oh god, what's going on? And then I look at, luckily I wasn't hurt. I was just a little bit yo, that sparked me a little bit. And then I got back up and I was like, oh, I've forgotten what's going on in the match. I'm just going to stand in the corner and hope no one notices.
So, I mean, we mentioned about where you'd like to be in 3 years. But in 3 years, would you still like to be concentrating as a referee or more of a wrestler?
Again, I'm young. I can see like wherever I end up. If I end up being a wrestler, that's super, because that's obviously the end goal for me. But if I'm still refereeing in 3 years, I won't be massively bothered. Like, I've still got plenty of time. I'm learning while I'm refereeing, so it's anything's a positive.
Let's bear in mind, Shay, that we've got somebody in yourself who's actually pinned Pete Dunne to win a championship. There's not many people who can say that.
Yeah, I've done that. And I did it fairly. I wouldn't say fairly recently, but I've done it while he's been the bruiserweight. So that's
exactly.
Sadly he's pinned me twice since.
They all count.
Didn't he also pedigree through a birthday cake?
Yeah, like the day after my 18th birthday, and I'm not gonna lie, that's the worst smelling thing ever. I smelled like gone off milk the entire ride home.
All right, I thought you meant being between Pete Dunne's legs. Right. So, obviously, you had your match. Was it 2-3 weeks ago now with Session Moth?
Yeah, about 2-3 weeks ago.
And it was a fans bring the alcohol match.
Yeah.
What was the worst drink you had that night?
Luckily, this sounds really bad, but so a fan brought like vodka, but it was like KFC flavoured.
What?
And I was like, what's this? What? And apparently, as he brought it in, he dropped it, and it smashed everywhere. So we didn't use it in the match. Some fans brought tequila and sambuca, but we got and this sounds like an awful excuse, but it genuinely wasn't. We couldn't find it while we were wrestling. So what did I drink? I drank a lot of cans. I downed about 5. The dark fruits at one point, and it tasted the worst. Like, I've drunk dark fruits before. It was the worst tasting thing. Like, I'm pretty sure it spiked it. It was horrible. At one point, I think Prosecco was pretty bad. I hadn't drunk that before. That was weird. Like, I didn't down it, but like, I got a lot sprayed into my mouth. Oh, also we put alcohol in a water pistol, and obviously we left it in there a long time. So when I sprayed that into my mouth, it just it tasted like. Are we allowed to swear on this podcast?
Yes.
It tasted like the piss of a goat. Oh my god.
So you've now admitted that you have drank the piss of a goat?
At least 2 pints a day, but...
Right. So, I mean, I've loved it. I haven't seen the full match. I've seen clips here and there, and it just looks hilarious.
Oh,
I mean, there's not only you two, but there's Joel. His facial expressions.
I love Joel.
They crack me up every time. Also, do not mention to Joel that you were talking to me tonight.
Why not?
I may have pissed him off in Orlando.
Oh. Did you want to divulge? I'm
I was drunk. He was sober. We were all with friends. He was there. I may have called him Angry Kid. Oh, what was the other one? Garfunkel.
Oh, great.
But I think I did buy him a drink to apologise. I think it was it the night after Raw? No, it was the night of Raw.
That's something else.
So we were all smashed, yeah. And he said he'd come on, but
after you started singing Sound of Silence to him.
Yeah. Oh dear. But no. He actually remembered Jordan when he went to Progress, which was quite funny. Because Jordan was also abusing him in a nice way. We're not nasty abusing. It was all nice. Plus, he probably is my now second favourite ref in the UK scene.
Is the first Chris Roberts?
No. I don't. Chris Roberts. I like Chris Roberts. He's a good referee. But I think with Joel, you get a lot of facial expressions during the matches.
Joel's the best.
Where sometimes you're watching him more than the match, which is wrong because it's that funny. And now I mentioned it, Steve, Kev, you're going to do it next time, and you're going to look at him.
Yeah.
Great.
But yeah, that's what he does. He is good. And especially in that match between you and Session Moth, his facial expressions were hilarious.
They're great.
Is he someone you look up to in the UK refereeing scene?
It's weird. I only met Joel after 2 years of reffing, so I obviously haven't learned everything, but again, because refereeing isn't really my focus, I didn't go through a ref school. I just kind of was a bad ref until I learned what was good and what was bad. If you watch the first few attack shows, I'm just kind of staring off into the darkness, and I don't really know what's going on, and I'm just stood there not knowing what's going on whatsoever. But then eventually I copped on. Then I met Joel. I met Joel at a Fight Club show that I wasn't reffing, and I just came up to help out at. And then about 6 to 8 months later, I reffed my first Fight Club show on my own because he couldn't make it. And obviously I was a trainee there, so they knew who I was. And then about the show after that, I met Joel. So I've never really looked up to him, but he's always been a good laugh. Whenever I do shows with him, I really look forward to him.
So who is the referee you think I would love to be like?
There's again, because my focus is on being a ref, there isn't really one. I guess if I had to pick one, it'd be Drake Younger, because obviously he was the best deathmatch wrestler in CZW. Yeah. This guy's immense, and he's a superb ref now as well, which is awesome to hear.
Yeah, it's good that actually NXT have just had their first female referee.
Oh really? I didn't know. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think it was last week or this week actually.
That's so sick. That's awesome.
She's full time as well apparently.
That's great.
She did her first house show a couple of days ago, I think.
Yeah, it was. I knew it was quite recent. Yeah. But no, I mean, I don't think there was what was the girl called in TNA? Taryn Terrell. She was a female referee, wasn't she, in TNA for a bit? Yeah. But no, it's good. But it is good to have a female referee, I think. Which actually moves on to the Mae Young Classic. I mean,
awesome.
It'd be good if they could have an all-female cast, really, with Jim Ross as lead commentator.
Yeah. Who's been announced for that so far?
I actually don't know. Has Viper been announced recently? Steve, you're up on this.
Yeah, there hasn't actually been any concrete announcements, but I think it's fairly telling that people like Nixon Newell, there's a girl called Evie who's also recently just signed onto NXT deals.
Just so I know, Evie's great. Evie's
really
really good.
I'm looking forward to that. And then you've got the problem, I think, at the moment is the whole world of sport collapse, which seems to have happened over the last couple of weeks. You've got people like Viper who probably will be in a bit of a contract situation with the world of sport, because I think she's fantastic on the Mae Young Classic.
Yeah, I think Viper, I've seen Viper a couple of times, and I think she's a great wrestler. I think she's quite big in Japan, isn't she, at the minute?
Yeah, she's
a really successful tour with Stardom.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Steve?
I was just going to say it's the same with B. Priestley as well, with Ospreay. Seems to have developed their character out into Japan, kind of dressing the same as Will. Probably going to shoot into the stratosphere in the next couple of months, and I wouldn't be surprised if you see her making WWE moves at some point in the near future.
Yeah. I think I've only seen her wrestle once, to be honest. That was at Progress, and yeah, she's someone to keep an eye on, definitely. Yeah. Do we see Ospreay going to WWE eventually?
Not if Randy Orton's making any contract bookings.
I know, but people I've read say it could be all the work, and it's start a feud with Ospreay eventually, which is a bit far fetched considering it'll probably be a year or two down the line.
Yeah. I do like the idea of that. I think if that is something they've got and they're playing the long game on it, fair play to WWE. And if it plays out well, great. But I would more to think that it was just Randy Orton on a bit of a drunken rage whilst on tour, and people have exploded because of it.
Yeah. What are your views on Randy Orton, Kev?
I don't know. Orton's a hard one to call, really, now. I mean, sometimes he's got it, sometimes he hasn't. Obviously, there's rumours he's a bit of a dick, but I just don't know. It's a hard one with Orton now.
Yeah, I think to be honest, he's just trying to keep himself relevant, for the future.
He's a third-generation superstar with double-digit world titles. Does he really need to do that? So does he really need to put people down just to get ahead? I think it's a little bit harsh on him, to be honest.
Maybe he's worried about what's going to happen in the future. He's just trying to keep himself there because he might be one of them who is a warrior.
Maybe.
I'd love to see him against some of the young up-and-coming indie wrestlers and then see what happens because, he can wrestle, but can he wrestle to their standards?
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think he'd help putting them over.
Oh, no, he wouldn't. He'd be stiff as anything, I reckon, personally. But I think he is professional, so maybe he would. But we'll move on now. We'll quickly go on to Raw. What's everyone's opinion on Raw? Start with you, Shay.
I enjoyed Raw. I think it's really cool to see the fact that they are really now pushing Samoa Joe. Obviously, it's in the title picture, so they will anyway. But I just think it's really cool to see. Like, it gets me excited when I see when I see someone like Paul Heyman interacting with Samoa Joe. I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. Let's see more of this. This is superb. Like, that's a big standout for me from Raw.
Yeah, I think the actual segment between Heyman and Joe was fucking awesome. You don't see enough of that these days, where the manager / advocate gets attacked for no reason. I think the way they played it was perfect.
Yeah, God, yeah.
Kev, what do you think of that one?
Do you know what? I actually enjoyed Raw better this week than I have done the past God knows how many weeks. I mean, the opening segment with Reigns and Joe, it really actually, I enjoyed it. The Joe and Heyman segment, well, you couldn't fault that, could you?
Well, no.
But
I mean,
the rest of the show was sort of like, well, I'm enjoying it. I'm not wanting to fast forward it after the break. I want to fast forward the break and then press play, sort of thing again. So
who does everyone think? What's that? You Steve? Who do you think is going to be the attacker of Enzo and Cass?
I'll be honest, after, looking back at what's been going on, I really did think it was going to be Cass himself, but after last week, it's looking less likely, unless that's a big curveball. I honestly can't say. I honestly do not know who it could be.
Personally, I think it's going to be Cass, and I think he'll have just laid down, pretended he were injured to take the heat off him. I think it'll be Cass.
What about La Luchador?
Well, you never know.
Maybe.
Well, I've got a question for Shay now, just to keep his Miz enthusiasm going.
Yeah.
Where does the Miz go after Ambrose?
The Hall of Fame, where he belongs.
Oh God.
I don't know. I think they've got a few as far as I'm concerned, steady options to go with. Was he on SmackDown this week? Wait, he's on Raw now, isn't he?
He's on Raw now, yeah.
It's been a while for me. Right, he's on Raw now. Did he do anything on Raw this week? Yeah. Oh no, he had the title break thing, didn't he?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I mean, they could still go with him and Ambrose, I guess.
I think they're obviously building up for a rematch.
Yeah. I think it's if we're talking about what he does post Ambrose, I think a long and lengthy title reign would really work for him. I think building the Intercontinental Championship up like he has before, because I remember when the Intercontinental Championship was hot property at one point. You had back when I'm going a while back when Cody Rhodes had it and he changed it to the white belt.
Yeah. The white belt sounds like the best.
Exactly. And then it really got a buzz about it. And then I think he won it and then started wrestling as a babyface. He really built that belt up. He made it look great. And I really think especially with now what they're doing with him and Maurice, I think he has the perfect ability to build that belt up again. I think he's one of the most I love him. I think he's one of the most entertaining wrestlers. Not in WWE, I think he's one of the most entertaining wrestlers in the world right now. I think he's superb, and I think he's really, really criminally underrated by fans.
Yeah, I don't think I won't say he's underrated anymore. I think he's getting the adulation from the fans at me, because the work he's done in the last year to 18 months has been fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I absolutely hated him. I thought, God, get rid of him, get shut. it was actually in my mind he was going down the Jack Swagger route where he was just going to get beaten every week, and then suddenly he's just turned it around.
Yeah.
And he is the most must-see person in WWE at the minute.
I agree.
I think I might be slightly biased because when you guys are going to feel so old, and I'm sorry. When I first started watching like WWE, my first WrestleMania was the first one I watched live was WrestleMania 27, and and that was the one where The Miz main evented, and I just thought, this guy is the best wrestler ever. He has changed the WWE spinny belt to have an M on it. This is amazing. And I still, like, fully believe it, but just all the work I've seen him do over the past years, like, even his work with, like, R-Truth back in, like, 2011 was amazing. Oh, I love him.
Yeah, nice. You can always tell that you're young when you say my first ever WWE moment, whereas we say it's WWF. But, and again, to make us feel old, my first WrestleMania I really remember watching. It was probably a few years after it happened. Was probably WrestleMania 3, which is quite embarrassing. I mean, like I say, I wouldn't have watched it live or that year. It'd probably been about 3 or 4 years afterwards when I first remember watching it.
The first WrestleMania I watched would have been WrestleMania 20.
Yeah.
The first one I watched live was 27. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Do you ever fancy going to Mania?
It's always an option, but the one thing is, if you guys don't know, I should probably publicise this more. Attack run 4 shows in Walkabout Cardiff, which has about a 450 capacity, which is pretty big compared to the shows we usually run. And we always have one fall on WrestleMania, and it's always our biggest time of the year. So that's like because Attack were like the first company to give me anything, that's a very important thing for me. So I always want to make sure I'm there for that. So it's like, if at any point I could do it, I'd love to. But like that's a big thing for me, like just personally. So.
Yeah, I mean, I can probably speak for the other two, but it was without a doubt the greatest wrestling experience of my life.
I can imagine. It looks insane there.
Yeah, but yeah. No, so you mentioned Attack, and that's how that they give you probably your first big break. Is that right?
Yeah, like so I started refereeing for Attack purely by like accident, essentially. So Attack didn't. So this was back when I first started training in the Midlands with them in the Hunter Brothers training unit. It was me and Nixon Newell travelling up there at the time. I was only 15. And Pete Dunn was taking training, and Pete was so I've been training there about 2 months, and he said we've got no referee for our show. And it was like a new venue, it was in Middlewich, we'd never run there before, and he was like, it's a small show. It probably won't go and be released on DVD. Do you want to ref it? And I was like, oh yeah, sure. I'll do that. It's experience. And after the show, we train next week, and he's like, oh, I'm just going to keep you as the ref. And then like October of that year, I was involved in a 6-man match, and they went, oh yeah, just do a dive. And I was like, oh, okay, I can do that. Like, I'm a trainee. I know how to do these things. And then I spiraled out of control from there.
Who actually runs Attack?
Right, so let's go through the list of people that have run it. So originally it began off with the announcer Jim Lee and Pete Dunn. A lot of people can do this way more justice than me, like Pete, Chris Brooks, Mark Andrews, and I think Jim have all done podcasts where they've explained this. So if you want to go and listen to that, feel free. But so originally it was Pete and Jim, then it moved to Pete, Jim, and Mark. Then when Pete and Mark, I think when Mark first signed to TNA, like he was out of the country to start, so he stopped running it, and it just ended up. Oh, and Jim dropped out very early on, so it just ended up being Pete and Chris Brooks, and then Pete got busy, so it just then ended up being Chris. But now it's kind of like an amalgamation of everyone, because Chris is doing a superb job with everything he's doing at the moment, but like so many people have, like Pete and Mark still give like creative ideas, and it's like it's all input from everyone. It's a big group of friends helping each other, which is awesome to hear.
And you mentioned Jim. Who's Jim?
Oh, Jim Lee, the announcer. He used to be a wrestler. He's like, in my opinion, him and Matt Taylor Richards are the two best announcers in Britain. And I think Jim, like, really... It's a shame that he only does it for attacks. He sees wrestling as a hobby. He doesn't see it as a career. But Jim is, like, legitimately one of the nicest people. And he's probably, like... I really believe he's probably the best announcer in Britain. Him or Matt Taylor Richards.
To be honest, I don't know much about Jim, but no, I'll definitely keep an eye out for him if I ever go to an attack show.
If you buy one of the attack shows from 2016, he had a long rivalry with Pete, and it's like one of the best things you can see. Like, honestly, like, it's not me just bigging it up, like, it's one of my favourite things I've been involved in wrestling for.
That's good, I'll give that a try. Steve, did you say you had a few questions? Or?
Yeah, I was just obviously having a little look with Shay and coming on to the podcast, really to have a look at his background, see some bits and bobs maybe I wasn't aware of, and some of the things that cropped up we've kind of touched upon already over the last hour. One of the things that I found fairly interesting, you were talking about how you really got on with Joel and how you really enjoyed working with him. But back in January, you obviously got a chance to be in a 6-man tag match with him as well. How did that
go? That's such a good match. Oh, that show's amazing. For those of you who don't know, like, the Attack Pro Wrestling lore, part of that Pete and Jim rivalry was I turned on Jim and joined Pete, which is, again, just ridiculous. I totally recommend you guys watch any of, like, the shows in, like, late 2016. That match is amazing. So that's me and CCK against Mustache Mountain and Joel, and we actually got Warren. Warren's a fan. He had no idea what was going on. We pulled him in the ring and got him to ref the match. So if you look at that show, I think I win the 24/7 belt of Clint Margera. Then I get pinned by Joel and lose it. Then Warren wins the 24/7 belt off of Joel, and they don't tell him. They don't tell him what's going on. And we finished the show with a fan dancing to House every weekend in the ring, the 24/7 champion.
Fantastic.
That does sound pretty cool. I know you had the. Were you there? Was it this weekend where it was the backwards matches?
Yeah, I was. That's on it. Like, I know I recommended a lot of things, but that show is just, oh god, that's the one of the, like, if you look at British wrestling, I think that's probably going to be a standout of 2017. It's so unbelievably good.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a few clips like Choice Banks as Mark Andrews and.
Yeah. Right. So. I'm going to try and explain this the best I can. So, Attack Pro Wrestling do a show every year called Press Start. Press Start is a video game themed show where we usually switch, wrestlers play as video game characters, and we've done that that's our 5th year doing it. This year, we unveiled the Attack Pro game console that, like, controls Press Start and Attack Pro Wrestling itself. Now, the anti-fun police believe this was too much fun and confiscated the game console. And after a match, what was the match? It was Flash Morgan Webster and Bird and Boar against the anti-fun police, which was the brothers of Obstruction, James and Lee Hunter, and Chief Deputy Dunn of the anti-fun police. And they decided to destroy the games console by having a rather rotund man in Los Federales Santos Jr. leg drop it. This sent Attack Pro Wrestling into dismay, and that meant that Press.5 was glitched. For those of you who don't know, Press.5 then had a bunch of our wrestlers wrestling as each other, and it's just the best show.
It does. I mean, like I said, I've only seen a few clips. That one was Warren, and then the other one was Pete Dunne as Tyler Bate versus Tyler Bate as Pete Dunne.
Yep. Everyone should watch that match. It's a testament to how good they are that they can do everything that each other do so well.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to watch this match, where can we watch it?
You can get the Attack Pro Wrestling Vimeo, and I can't tell you the exact price, but it's on there for like pretty cheap compared to other shows. It's one of like I legitimately believe that like Attack Pro Wrestling are one of the most unique and creative companies in Britain, and I really think that show demonstrates what we've been doing for the past few years.
Oh, that definitely suggests that people should have a look at that. I know.
Yeah, definitely.
I probably will while I'm pretending to work tomorrow. But no, anyone got any more questions?
I want to see your opinions on what Michael Cole said on Raw. He used the word perhaps when he was on about Roman Reigns retiring The Undertaker. Do you think that's a play, or do you think that's just because there's nothing official confirmed yet?
I wouldn't read, like, again, obviously I'm not a booker at WWE, but I wouldn't read too much into, like, not what commentators say, but put it this way, they're doing a 3-hour show. They're going to have moments where, like, they slip up, and not even slip up, like, just say something, and I feel like, not fans, but people in general will read way too much into that and think, this must mean something like, it's probably just he's in the middle of a 2.5-hour show, he's having something said into his ear, and he said it and gone, oh, maybe that's not right. I don't know where they're going to go with The Undertaker if he does keep wrestling, but I totally believe it'd have something for him if he just stays there. Maybe, I think maybe WWE and him himself haven't made their mind up yet, and they just want to keep a bit of ambiguity.
I mean, as a totally selfish point of view, I do hope Orlando was his last match, so I can say I was there at his last match.
No, I fully agree. But I wouldn't be sad if he went out at Survivor Series where he started.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Steve, do you have a question?
Yeah, I was obviously just looking back. There's probably a 2-pronged question, really, for Shay, just to have a go with people to see if, for example, out there now, there might be a booker looking to book you for one of their shows. Are you looking to work with any other promotions in the UK or further afield at the moment?
I'm looking to work with anyone, like absolutely anyone. Like I don't think I've ever turned down a booking from a promotion in my life unless like I've been double booked or something's come up.
Is there anyone that sticks out in your mind that you might fancy working for?
I think like I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to work for any of like the big promotions in Britain at the moment. Like you've got Progress. I've worked for ICW. Not many people know this. I did a Welsh commentary on one of their shows. I'm a fluent Welsh speaker.
Okay.
Sadly, it never got released because I think the guy I was doing it with broke the recording, so it never got released. ICW, Progress. Do you know what I mean? Like there are OTT. There are so many promotions that I love to work for, and if you go further afield, like I was at 8 buying PWG DVD, so that's a big one for me. Like I got to work with Jack Evans over a Fight Club Weekender and got to give him Hurricane Rana and a bump and feed, which was insane. And I've also beaten Sami Callihan, so that's like 8-year-old me watching PWG DVDs is marking out at that, which is amazing.
No, that's fantastic. That's the type of thing that you need to aspire to, I guess, as a young wrestler and obviously a referee. It's funny you should mention Sami Callihan. Obviously, I was aware of Sami Callihan. I'd never actually seen him wrestle, but was lucky enough to see the Progress show in Orlando, and I know Adam was there too. Right. Probably one of the best tag team matches I've ever seen with South Pacific Power Trip.
I said to people when I got back, and everyone said, "Oh, what was your favourite match of WrestleMania?" And that was genuinely my favourite match of the whole week.
It was unbelievable. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would not call him underrated because I think underrated is a word that gets used a lot, but I think he's genuinely one of the best wrestlers in the world. Like, he's so unbelievably good. I'm very lucky that I got to train at one of his seminars while he was over in the UK last time, and I learned so much.
Obviously, he's got a fantastic wrestling mind as well, given the fact that he's been given the booking opportunities with CZW as well.
Yeah. Like he's such a. I mean, like, it's rare that you meet good guys in wrestling. He's one of the very, very good guys in wrestling. Well, I say that everyone that I've had the pleasure of working with has been very, very pleasant and really helped me out. But he's like just such a good guy to work with. Like a very, very talented wrestler and just a very like insightful wrestler as well.
Steve mentioned CZW. Then you don't hold any titles at the minute, do you, Shay?
No.
That's good because obviously we had Leo Rush on the other week, and I think it was 2 days later he lost the CZW title. So that's
it's a curse. Yeah.
Yeah. No titles, nothing to lose. Bonus.
Exactly.
But you mentioned obviously you getting into wrestling and how you got into it. But what would you say to people trying to get into wrestling now? What advice would you give them?
Come in with an open mind. Like this is something like that I've been told. This isn't like my opinion. Like this is something I've been told, and I've realised is very, very important. You get told 100 different things from 100 different wrestlers, and you can't please everyone. But like always come in with an open mind and open ideas. Because if you come in saying I want like you're 5'2" and weigh about 110 pounds and say I want to wrestle like Batista, you're probably going to realise within 6 months you're not going to wrestle like Batista. But like if you come in with an open mind like that, because there are so many like. How many times, like, do you guys see two wrestlers arguing online about something?
A lot of the time.
Yeah, all the time. So that's but those are usually two people's opinions you have to take on board. So just you, as a young wrestler, just come in, like, choose and select what you're gonna like. Always like take everything on board, but kind of pick and select what you think is relevant to you in the situation that you may be in at that moment in time, and you may realise in 6 to 8 months, oh, the other piece of advice I was given was more relevant to me. Just always coming in with an open mind helps, and I think it's really and a good attitude. Like I'm only a trainee, so I shouldn't really be commenting on this, but like coming in with a good attitude and coming in with just like going to a show and just being happy that you're there and happy to help out, or happy to wrestle on it, happy to referee on it, happy to work the camera, happy to sell merch, happy to like clean up afterwards. Just remembering all of this is a step in the right direction for you to wrestle is always really important.
Yeah. I mean, you say you shouldn't be giving this advice because you're only a trainee, but you are the perfect person to give that advice. You are still a trainee, but you are on the road, with Attack, with Fight Club, So it is good to have someone who is actually living it now, giving the advice to people who want to live it.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned all the jobs then. What is actually the worst job you've had to do as a trainee?
Right. I think I've done every job in wrestling. I think. I've refereed, I've ring announced. I hated ring announcing. That was horrible. Simply because I was given... So I had to ring announce a pre-show for Attack when I was first helping out, because I had quite a deep voice, and they were like, yeah, you don't need to get in the ring, you just need to like stand in the back of the room and say people's names. So Mark sent me over a list of like the guys in the match's names, but they wanted me to announce them before they came out, and I didn't know whose music was who. So I announced one team, and the other team came out, and I was like, oh no, what do I do? And then I let the other team come out, and then I just announced the same team again. And then when they won, I lost the list of names, and it was an 8-man tag, so I couldn't see every single person who had won. So I just kind of guessed, and definitely got it wrong. Luckily, this was on a pre-show, and nobody saw it, so that's good. But probably the worst... I don't think I've ever... Like, the worst job that I've seen is doing camera work for promotions. Like, I've luckily never had to do that, but I think if I did, I'd probably have a mental breakdown, because I just that seems like the worst job, having to film ringside at shows. I couldn't do it. It's like I see people doing it, and I'm amazed. And a lot of the time are just trainees. Even though a lot of trainees do have like media and film experience, myself included, I'd hate to have to do anything like that. It'd be like my worst nightmare.
So if we ever see you on the worst side of the camera,
presume I'm crying. Just presume I'm crying.
Yeah, we can only see one eye, but yeah, you're definitely crying. But I think we're getting to the end now. But just before we do go, is there any shows coming up that you'll be wrestling on that you can tell people?
The worst part of this is I would actually check, but my phone broke a couple of days ago and I had all my dates saved into it, so I'm going to have to remember from memory. Right. June. I'll say late June. Fight Club Pro have a show in the Starbucks warehouse. I'll be on that in some capacity. I'm pretty sure it'll be wrestling, but you never know. Last time I ended up drinking with the session moth.
Did you say in the Starbucks warehouse?
No, in the Star Works. Like that's
right.
Star Works warehouse.
Right.
It's a new venue and it's awesome. Like it's really cool to see Fight Club have advanced to that point. We've got that. Dragon Pro Wrestling, the academy that I train at, I've got a show this Sunday in Rodney Parade in Newport. Tickets are still available both on the door and online. And Attack Pro Wrestling have got a show in the Trinity Centre in July. There are less than 20 tickets available for that. That is called the Neon Wrist Lock. And Dragon Pro Wrestling and Attack Pro Wrestling are running a joint show June 22nd in Catay's Community Centre called Thursday Night Throws, and it's going to be a chance for a lot of people to see like new up-and-coming wrestlers try their hand with current Attack Pro Wrestling wrestlers, which will be a really cool thing to see.
No, it's good. Yeah, it's good. We'll try and retweet any dates that you put on Twitter, and people can get on there. But if not, we'll definitely put them out there. But no, we appreciate you for coming on this lovely Wednesday night.
No problem, guys. I've really enjoyed it. This was like a lot of fun.
Good. Maybe next time you can come on and you might be a WWE star.
Exactly. With my UK Championship and still Attack Pro Wrestling 24/7 Championship around my way.
If you're WWE Championship, you will definitely not be talking to us three.
You never know.
No, it's great. Thank you for coming on. Unless anyone else has got any questions for Shay.
No, I'm fine. I just want to say thanks very much, Shay. Yeah, you've been fantastic. Some really, really good questions and answers we've had there.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed speaking to you guys, except the one from Sunderland. I'm sorry.
Cheers.
It's funny that because everyone says that to him. But no, that's it. So yeah, this is the end of the show. Everyone, thanks for listening, and we will see you next week. So say bye, Kev.
Goodbye.
Say goodbye, Stephen.
Bye now.
And thanks to Shay for coming on. Thank you.
Don't forget to tune in next time for more fighting talk. Please don't take that out of context. I was talking about wrestling. Catch you next time.